It's on the top end, man. This is huge. I've been waiting for this for a long time. What's up, Paul? How's it going?
Hey,
Can you hear me?
yeah, apologies for being a little late there. Just getting in from work.
You're good. How's it going? Everything
Good,
well?
man. Going good. You?
Yeah. So, Paul Easton, this is Cut the Deck podcast. How you doing? I've been waiting to get this for a minute because your breakdowns are some of the best on the internet. And
Oh, look at that.
I don't think you understand. There's a lot of NBA players that follow you, and so just talk about how did you get started in that and being
Uh,
uh,
yeah,
good
I'm
break-
I'm from Scotland originally, from across the pond.
right.
Uh, Obviously not known as a big bad stuff like that.
Right.
And I started coaching very young in Scotland, and I had a chance to come across to the US to coach at some camps. And I did that, and I really became friends with Morgan Wooten, who's a legendary high school coach from DeMatha High School. A lot of the NBA players came out of there. And his son, Joe Wooten, was a head high school coach in Virginia. And I joined his coaching staff, and I coached there for 6 years. We had some great players. We had Kendall Marshall, North Carolina, Romello Trimble at Maryland, countless guys who went to Georgetown and whatever. And then I became a head high school coach, and then I kind of went through a transitional phase of my life. Got divorced, had to kind of figure out how to support my young kids, stuff like that. So I kind of gave up coaching for a little while, about 3 months. And then I started working with some of the players that I worked with before, and I just kind of became a trainer. And I started working with young kids, a lot of the pros that were overseas. And then I saw everyone was kind of making Instagram accounts. So I made one, and I remember looking at it and saying to myself, how can I make a difference? And I was never a great player. I just loved the game. So I couldn't really demonstrate everything really well. So what I did was I said, well, what I'm good at is breaking stuff down. And I love doing video breakdowns with players, like showing them this is where your teammate was open. This is where the defense shifted.
Right.
So I started putting that into what I was doing in terms of individual workouts. And then when I was doing it, people were like, can you explain this more? So I was like, I want to add a voiceover to it. So I started giving a voiceover to what I was doing,
Right.
and it just kind of really caught on. And I think I was one of the first people to do voiceovers in the instructional videos. And then, of course, my accent's a little different, so it kind of caught on. And from there, it just grew.
And so what I'm seeing is this is the book I'm reading called The Talent Code, and it speaks about
Know very well. I know.
the deep practice. And so what I realized with your breakdowns, you break down the intricate details of each skill. So like I know some moves I'll watch and I'll pick like he actually broke it down to a T to where this is where you can actually learn the move instead of just saying dribble cross, step back. You know how a lot of trainers do and it's all that. So like what made you kind of tap into like the deep practice part of the skill?
Yeah, great question. It's a great book as well. Is it Dan Coyle?
Yeah, Daniel Corey, yes.
Yeah. So for me, it was like I would teach players how to do some moves, right? Like say a Euro step, a step back, a spin move. The young players, I'd go watch them in their games, and they would barely make layups. They would travel when they caught the ball. They weren't doing things effectively. So I said to myself, how can I get them to the level of executing these moves in the game? So I said to myself, they need to know, number one, how to do the move, and number two, when to do the move. So how to read the defense, what foot to put forward, what speed to change and cross the ball over. So I really started getting as detailed as I could with what I was doing.
Right, yeah, and that's definitely a thing, and I see that. So I suppose some of the players you work out with kind of get better efficiently because it's more of a deep practice. Because I just saw a video how somebody was messing up, and so what I learned in this book is that sometimes you got to embrace the failure to to accelerate the process. So for example, there was a kid in this book. It took like a month to learn a piece, but it took her 6 minutes. And it's like it's magical. Whereas if you just break every minute detail down, you will get it faster. So would you say some of your players get better faster, like more efficiently?
I think so. You said that very well. Like I'll have players, and everyone uses this saying, "Trust the process." I change it just slightly, and I say, "Be the process."
Right.
Like part of the process is messing up, and people talk about confidence. Confidence, of course, is believing in yourself, but
Right.
it's also being okay with making mistakes.
Right.
It's about owning your mistakes. So when I'm working with a player, as a girl I'm working with right now, and she's so talented,
Right.
and when she messes up 3 or 4 shots in a row, she's such a good shooter, she starts to beat herself up, and I can see it. So
Right.
I'll stop the practice, and we'll really break things down. And I'll say, right now, you're creating a cloud around you right now. You can't focus clear because you're so angry with yourself.
Right.
You're talking to yourself, and it's not positive. And we then so said, let's go back to basics and break down what you have to do with your hand placement, with your balance, with your body weight. And we just make it as simple as possible.
Definitely. So what would you consider an efficient workout? A lot of guys get 2 hours in the gym, but just because you went to the gym for 2 hours doesn't mean you got better. So what does efficient workout consist of? How long is it?
Number one, you have to plan it. A lot of people go to the gym and just to shoot around and have fun. That's completely fine. But if you really want to get better, you should know when you're walking in the gym why you're going in the gym. Have it on your phone, have it on a piece of paper. And you should be saying to yourself, today I'm going to get better from the mid-range, or I'm going to get better with my hesitation crossover, and really focus on that move. I think I always mess this quote up, but Bruce Lee said something about you'd rather be the man who does the same kick 10,000 times rather than having 10,000 kicks just one time. Like really, really get after it. So for me, 45 minutes to an hour should be the max you're working out at one time. Because I think, like, imagine if you're doing a test or an exam, you can't focus much over an hour. Like, I'm not saying you specifically, but anybody. Like, your concentration span goes. So I think when you're working out, if you're truly focused, you've got to find a way to get the best time you can. Sometimes I'll do a workout for 30 minutes, and it's some of the best workouts I've ever done because we're just locked in. We're focused.
Really? 30 minutes. So how do you go about it? Do you say ball handling and this? So is it one or two things you pick up and just say, let's go? So talk about the process of
I tell the players to have a plan. I have a plan too. So I'll have watched the player play or I saw a videotape and we'll discuss what we're going to work on. I'll say, for example, we're going to work on ball handling. We're going to work on using the ball screen, reading it better, and we're going to work on that jab step that you're struggling with. So we'll know what we're doing and we transition into it. So I usually always start with a finishing drill or a ball handling drill just to get the body moving and to make it fun, make it competitive. And then after that, we'll break down. So if I'm doing the ball screen, what I would do is the first 10 minutes, we're going to work on the ball screen and how to turn the corner.
Right.
Then we're going to say, okay, what do we do now if the defender goes under the screen? We're going to come back the other way or shoot over the top. And then I'll come in as a defender. Well, I try. And I defend the play so the player can read and react to what's going on. So we try and build it up from a progressional standpoint.
So your drills are more reactionary, would you say?
Well, I'm a huge fan of read and react because there's so many players I see work on moves, but they just don't know how to use them. They don't know when to use them. And that's a huge issue. That's like me going to the gym and bench pressing 300 pounds, but then get into a fight and not know how to punch. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to have a purpose to what you're doing.
Right. So playing pickup, would you say work out then play pickup to kind of utilize what you've done?
Yeah, what I say to players is when you go to pick up, obviously try and compete, win the game, enjoy it. But what you should be doing is use pickup as a chance to work on the moves you just worked on. Like if you've just worked on pull-up jump shots or catch to your left side, don't go in the pickup game and shoot fadeaway three-point shots. Like try and put into practice because ideally, in an ideal situation, practice the move and the skill 1 versus 0 at a slow pace, then pick it up at game speed 1 versus 0, then go 1 versus some cones, and then go 1 against a live defender.
And do you feel like that process can help players get better faster? Because it's not like it's something like you can't rush the process, but like this book said, like there's plenty of stories where there's a year's worth of material, but people learned it in weeks. And it's like, is that some magic trick? No, it's what you call deep practice. It's like you go to a different place and you're so immersed in the one piece of craft, right? And like you fall in love with the failure, right? And so that's really profound that you said that. You take it step by step by step. Because this book has numerous stories like that. It takes 2 years to do this, but this person only did it in a month. And it's like it's not magic. It's just a deep practice and focus.
It is, and it's just falling in love with what you're doing, and just see it. Like it's everything. It's the mental aspect, it's the physical aspect, and it's just you saying to yourself, like, I'm going to build confidence. Like when I'm working with players, I want to build confidence. It's not by telling them they're great. I want them to see the confidence by, I want to mess up here, but I want to succeed here. I'm not going to look back on that negative part. I'm just going to focus on what's next.
Right. So do you feel like the training business is oversaturated with a lot of theatrics?
Yeah, it's a very, very elegant way to put it. I like that, theatrics.
Yeah.
When I first started, there was guys out there, but it wasn't like it is now. I mean, there's so many trainers, and it can be a little discouraging sometimes, because people will get enamored by some guy with flashy handles or who's got the look. I get it. We're all human beings, but I think that for people who are choosing a trainer, you want to choose someone that speaks to you. Like I've said to people before, I may not be the best trainer. I may be too boring for some people. I may be too detailed. I may not be quick enough. You go with someone that really helps you develop. And I tell people that all the time. There's no, you've got to find someone that works with you.
Yeah, but that boring and not quick enough, that accelerates the process. I think.
But your average parent, your average sports fan doesn't see that. They want the flash. Yeah. They want their kid to be shooting step backs and spin moves. They don't care about left-hand layups and pull-up jump shots, up and unders.
And that's why guys like Luka and a lot of guys are fundamentally sound. Like I see you doing a mic and drill. I'm like, why is he putting this on his page? That's but as I read the book and I'm like, remember, it's detailed. So talk about the mic and drill. It's pretty basic. So what is that finishing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so old. I learned the mic and drill at a book in the library. Scotland. That's how old I am. And I remember putting it into place and kind of messing up the footwork. But I remember when I was younger and we played games, like we would just, before every game, every player had to make 10 mic and drills. And that always stuck with me. And I'm like, the goal is to get the ball in the basket. You want to, off your inside foot, outside hand, it's the perfect drill. So all of my players, I'll say, make 10 micings in a row using the backboard. Make 10 micings in a row without using the backboard. And I think Kobe Bryant used to say it all the time, is just being ferocious about the fundamentals. Like being ferocious about fundamental footwork and positioning. So
do you feel like that's lost? That's very lost. I'd say it's very lost.
I mean, people are enamored, but I think the training business, unfortunately, I see a lot of good trainers out there who don't have a lot of followers. They don't have fancy videos or professional camera person. I shoot all my stuff on an iPhone. And people say, why aren't you in your videos a lot? Usually because I'm the one holding the camera. So I don't have one guy said to me the other day, you should use a microphone when you talk, coach. We can't understand you. I'm like, dude, I'm just giving free workouts online. Like, it's not about that. It's not a trick and pony show, Yeah. And people have kind of convoluted that with the Insta fame and the training. They try to do both at one time. Yeah. And I know so many great trainers who don't have a big following.
Yeah, because, dude, I'm in Atlanta, man. It's very saturated. Like, if you're not a top guy, they'll charge you like an arm and a leg. Or, like, whatever. It's like, oh, that's my guy. I developed him as to where he was a 5-star recruit anyway. But you worked him out once, and now you've put, it's sad, especially in, like, the big cities and stuff. And so I'm glad people.
I'm close to D.C. I'm, like, maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes from D.C., and where I do my workout is only 10 minutes from DC. So we're the same way. I mean, there's a new trainer pops up everywhere. It just is what I don't get caught up in it too much. Usually the kids that I work with, sometimes they'll leave and go to others or they'll train with other people, but they usually always come back. So I used to worry about it. I don't worry about it so much because kind of like what you're saying about the book, substance will always last. Flash only lasts for a small amount of time. It usually leaves as quick as it came.
Yeah, definitely. Are you working with any prominent players right now? I see some NBA players follow you, so like your content is definitely going.
Yeah, I've heard from some of them. There's no big time guys that have done that. I worked with some of the WNBA players, the Mystics, last year, which was good. Mostly just overseas pros. And sometimes there's a few NBA players who have reached out to me and say, hey, we love your videos, keep it up, stuff like that. Which I love. And I think there was a time where I really wanted to work with NBA players. They kind of like what you said about the 5-star recruits. Everybody kind of has their guys. So I just kind of do what I do. And if I get one, I get one. If I don't, I don't. Because this may sound cheesy. Trying to make a difference in some people's lives. You know? I think for me, it's just all about making a difference in people's lives.
That's not cheesy. That's actually profound. But with the WNBA players, you realize they're not like athletic, doing the tomahawks and the between the leg dunks. So they're more fundamental anyway. So I see why they work with you. And also European players, they're fundamentally.
Oh yeah. We had one girl, Ariel Atkins, come to the gym, and she was really good. And one of my guys, Rick, was defending her, and she made a move. And Rick is a real athletic guy. And she made a move and just exploded by him. And both of us just gave each other a look like, okay. Okay.
So working with those people, does that kind of give you connects to like professional scouts and things like that? And, are you into
some mostly agents? Like agents will ask me to work out with guys. A couple of agents have called me. Now I do skills training in the evening and the weekends because I work a regular job at a university during the day. So a lot of the scouts have said, hey, can you work my guy out at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m.? I'm like, I can't. I got to, I can't. Can he come at 5? And they're like, no, he can only come at 8. And I'm like, oh, well. And the last 2 agents that called me, the 2 guys were NBA guys. I probably should have asked who they were. I don't name them because of this call, but one of them was a starter. And I was like, probably should have said yes.
Yes, what university work at?
I work at Marymount University. It's a small Division III school in Arlington.
Man, you didn't want to work with their basketball team? I can imagine that would tie you into them.
I work with some players, but not on like I guess an official level. But I work with a lot of their players in the off season.
Definitely. Enough about basketball. I guess the last thing I want to talk to is that advice. What do you have to say to like the dreamers out there who like the underdogs, the people that got to take a different route to where they want to go? Like, just tell me a story that you've seen a person that nobody believed in. And then I guess not just because he worked with you, he became this amazing player, but just tell me. I know you have stories like that. Someone they didn't believe him at all, and now.
Yeah, for sure. So many. I mean, I think number one that everyone in some sense is underappreciated or like I think I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, this guy's slept on. This guy's underappreciated." I think we all are in a sense, but I think it comes down to doing what you want to do. Like what you don't want to do is you don't want to look back in 10, 20 years and say, shit, I should have really tried that. I should have given it a shot. But I was worried what people would have said, or I was worried that people would laugh at me. Because they're legitimate things. And like, I'm actually looking at possibly doing a new venture as well. And even myself, I thought, well, man, I'm really starting from scratch again. What will people think? They'll say, oh, that's the basketball trainer guy. But the reality is, it's a short life. It doesn't really matter. Like if you want to try something, you just got to go ahead and do it. You got to put the hard work in and just give it your best because you'll always regret what you didn't do. Like the stuff that you mess up on, you'll forget. Trust me, you forget a lot of it. I think I'm trying to think, one of the best stories for me was a kid I work with. I haven't posted him in a while. His name is Chris Kazemka, and he works out of a barn. It's a barn, little blonde kid, and his family have a farmhouse. They converted it into a barn, and I would work him out. And I'll never forget. I organized a clinic. It was my first ever clinic. I had all these pros working with me, and they're like, "Man, you should branch into the youth game. You can make some money." Blah blah blah. So I hired this gym for 3 hours. It was $300, and I was like, "Shit, I don't have enough basketballs." So I went and bought some basketballs. $200 for basketballs, and I had to buy some blocking pads. It was like $100, right? So at this point, I'm like $400 or $500 that. And then I was like, I need some assistants, so I paid some guys to be my assistants. I advertised. We put flyers on car windows. I was like, man, this is it. I want to be a big time trainer. One person showed up.
Wow.
One person, I wanted to cry. I wanted to go to the bathroom and cry. So I sent my assistants home. I had to give them something, because they dedicate their day to it. I had to pay the gym. Had all these basketballs, all these blocking pads, and one kid showed up. And he was like, we want to work. I worked out one kid for 3 hours. It was so like sad. I had a whole gym to myself. And on the next court from me was another trainer who had like 20 kids. And I'll never forget, he was laughing. I'll never forget it.
So he was laughing at you? What is he now?
I didn't know it was his territory. I didn't know that. And I was hurt. I was really hurt. So this kid that worked out, he was great. Never seen him before, great kid. And his dad said, I've got a barn. It's a gym, and I've converted it into a barn. You should come over sometime. I was so hurt. I was just trying to get out of the gym. I was like, oh, yeah, no problem. Here's my number. I called him. I've worked that kid out for 6 years. He's just been getting his first Division I offers this month as a senior. From that kid, I have had so much business. I worked out his youth team, his middle school team, his high school team. His high school boys coach was coaching me. His high school girls coach saw me and hired me for his team. I've made so much business from that one kid and one family. And I posted so many videos of us. And it showed me that I was ready to give up. I was ready to just say, you know what, this is not for me. I don't have the connections. And through that one kid, it just ignited everything. And I started a business. And then within a month from there, I had 40 clients. Then I went to 100. Then I went up and up. It was crazy.
So what about the guy that's who laughed at you?
I didn't even know who he is. Never heard of him.
Yeah,
never heard of him.
Tables turn for real. You just gotta keep focused. So I guess the advice you give you just never give up on your dreams.
You just got to give it a shot. And I think we've got the bad part is when we think of giving something, and when we give something a shot, we have to be okay with the fact it might not go well, because it sounds cheesy, but our mistakes completely make us who we are. So if you say Isaiah, if you said, I want to be the best videographer there is in Atlanta, and you try it, you put money into it, you work on it, and you fail miserably, and some dude says to you, what happened, Isaiah? I thought you were going to be a big-time film guy. You're like, nah, I didn't do it, but I learned this. I learned how to run a business. I learned how to do this. I met this person. Our mistakes make us who we are. Like a player I was talking to, she said, she told me this weekend, she goes, Coach Paul, I made too many turnovers. I said, what's too many? She's like, well, I don't know the number, but I made too many. I said, it's a fall league game, right? She's like, yeah. I said, you won. She said, yeah. I said, let's watch the video and see if they're really turnovers. She's like, what do you mean? And I says, you're learning what passes not to make again. You're learning on what reads not to make that pass again. Like every turnover, every mistake is meant for us. I'm not a huge spiritual or religious man, but I truly believe that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, Paul. I don't know what you can learn from a 22-year-old, but I think I'm willing to leave Vegas either broke or rich. Like we gotta put all the chips on the table. Like I'm leaving broke or rich. We're gonna leave it a little bit. We're gonna be safe because this life is short, man. And through the game of basketball, you do exemplify that. Just pouring out your passion to the kids every day and just showing like you do an amazing job.
I appreciate that. I truly appreciate that.
Yeah. And for me, to be honest, I'm leaving Vegas either broke or rich, man. Like.
Hey, I'm a big Vegas guy, so next time you're going, let me know. Oh, sorry, I lost you there, Isaiah. Sorry.
Are you good now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying just definitely let me know how I can add value to you in any way. Thank you so much for this interview. This is gonna be on my Instagram live. I'll definitely do some things and show you. So.
But yeah, and likewise, anything I can do for you, let me know, and let's definitely keep in touch. I appreciate the questions and the focus, and I'd love to hear what you think of that book when you finish it.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Isaiah. Thanks, everybody.